Okay, so Coach Again topic, a little bit about this attachment article. Just have some quotes that I want to read to you that are pretty cool. So, attachment influences how the brain is structured and how many stress hormones young children experience. So that doesn't really make sense. But infants and toddlers who consistently do not feel safe may begin to perceive adults and peers as threats in the world as a dangerous place. So kind of, if she's not feeling safe, she might see it as a threat.
She might not be feeling safe though. That's what I'm trying to pin, you know? I mean, maybe she's anxious that mom and dad are going away a lot.
Yeah. If your parents kept leaving and going on trips, it's not that consistent. Two people at home. It's like, I think she could be thinking in her head, you know, when's the next time dad's gonna leave? And is he coming back? And how long is it? Because we know kids don't do well with time. We know a month, yeah, that's a long time, or 3 weeks, but it might seem like forever for her. That could be.
And her drop off was great today.
That's good.
So she's totally inconsistent, which is the most frustrating
piece about it.
But
the piece I learned too, and part of it, and we might have to get the parents involved, is what happens in the morning. And that might be the trigger. But it might be something else during the day. So we'll just have to look at that. We'll track it in school and see if we can find something, you know, what that function is, and if not, then we can get the parents involved. Say, you know, what happened this morning at home? You know, how much sleep did she get? And there's a quick thing in the handout.
She's not a good sleeper.
That they fill out.
She gets up every night in the middle of the night. Almost every night she doesn't sleep well.
So maybe it's those nights that she does sleep through the night that she doesn't drop off.
Yeah, I didn't ask, but yeah. I mean, when they tell me she went to bed late, then her days are just horrific. If they tell me she's up in the middle of the night, but then I will ask later and they will say she's up in the middle of the night every night. Every night.
Yeah. So maybe it goes back to, like, with them and us, like, why we're tracking this data is it really every night? Or does it seem like it's every night? And it's really like every other night?
Right.
Or it's 3 nights in a row?
Right. Yeah.
We can get to that.
Okay.
If we can't figure it here, and even if we do, we just ask them, there's a quick sheet they fill out, like, where it's like, and hopefully they'll be.
And she doesn't have that natural cue when she's hungry. So that affects her too. Being hungry is one of her triggers. Being tired is one of her triggers.
So we'll track on that.
Attached to everybody else. And things in her world and in her environment.
And we'll get there.
Okay.
So, so I'm just going to read a few more things. Like, children with insecure attachment relationships may behave as if they know that adults are inconsistently or seldomly available. Goes back to, like, family traveling, or I mean, it could even go into effect of what's happening in the classroom. What teachers are there, what teachers are acknowledging her and not. So I think this section is good for you and for everyone in the room. Because
she requires a lot of attention.
But if 2 people can help give that attention to make a day better, or it can't just be one person giving all. We have to get everyone on board. And that's why I'm here to help too, is, you know what, if I need to sit down and have a conversation, like, but I need to talk to you for 5 minutes, or Fraser. So we need to give Sonnet 5 extra compliments today. And it's you need to get 5 extra. So maybe that'll help, you know, or when you get here in the morning, you'll play with her for the 5 extra minutes in the morning. And give specific things to do to help.
Yeah.
And if that can help in the morning, then
I might even have to go to the place where I give her the times of day that I will be able to sit down and play with her for 5 minutes. So she's not looking for it all day long. When the clock looks like this, that's when I'm going to sit, or right after we do this, I'm going to sit down with you. But it's really hard when, there's 2 and 21. On those days, it's really challenging for us.
But if you can give her that time, what's more challenging? Making that time or dealing with the aftermath?
Well, and then I have the other kids, though.
Right.
That's my
But
challenge.
if you give her 5 minutes, and just like kind of, because I've seen you rotate around like even at center time, and maybe you start with her first, and then you rotate on to someone else, and that's just part of your routine. And the kids know that. Like, I think they know you'll be around, or they can come talk to you. But we have to get the other teacher, I think, involved too. So,
Okay.
and it'll help.
Thanks. Be
Yeah.
third eyes for me.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this.
I know.
So speaking of third eyes, we're gonna watch this fun video. I'm not sure this is gonna record or not, but we're gonna watch Monkey Business. So you might remember this from the trainings, but it's different.
Is it?
Yeah. So watch and see what you come up with.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball. The correct answer is 16 passes.
Okay, hold on.
I did.
Did you spot the gorilla?
Okay, but wait for it.
For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla.
Because he blended right
If you
in.
knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game?
I noticed the player on the black team leaving the game.
Let's rewind and watch it
I
again.
didn't notice the curtain changing.
There it goes.
Yeah, I see that.
Here comes the gorilla,
Orange.
and there goes a
That's
player,
very subtle.
and the curtain is
Yeah.
changing from red to gold. When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events.
So it's pretty cool, I think. I watched that video and was like, oh, I've seen this. And Ben was like, nope, wait a minute. And so I think, every person should watch these videos. Because I think just like we're saying with just you and even me and all the other teachers in the rooms and in schools, we focus on that one thing and we forget the other things going on. And I think part of it right now is like we could be focusing so much on her tantrums and not a lot on her positiveness. Could not be.
Certain days, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
that is one of my button pushing moments. That when she screams and we get her calmed down, and 10 minutes later she screams again, that starts to escalate.
You.
My cortisol starts releasing at high levels when it happens over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I was at a really good point with her, and now we're backwards again. So I have to get back. I feel like it's getting better, but it's taking a long time.
It's gonna.
And that's frustrating me.
Yeah. But I think if you try and think like in your life, or if I think in my life, if you have that person that you don't trust, and it's not necessarily like you, but it's her environment. She doesn't trust adults. It's gonna take time to rebuild that relationship than it did the first time. Hungry.
Totally hungry.
So if we just think about these strategies in this article, it kind of, in keeping to fidelity of the pyramid, it kind of goes back to like building that relationships, and it ties in with this top of the pyramid too, because there's a nice checklist in, I think it's 17 or 18, before you get to behavior support plans. So even in general, if we have to do this again for the different kid, it makes sure you have all these things in a row. And sometimes you collect the data and then you have to go back to the bottom of the pyramid or the middle of the pyramid and build that relationship or talk about the emotions and all that stuff again. So it's fun. It's doable. We're going to get this. We are. So our whole circuit this time is just collecting data and working with the data. That's pretty much what we're working on. So an experience from my life on collecting data, I don't think I had much besides the day I came in here and tried collecting it, which was nice just to get something underneath my feet. Do you have any experience collecting data of kids?
A little bit. I mean, I haven't done it on a checklist, but I've kept
Mhm.
journals. You know, kids that have repeat behaviors
Mm-hmm.
or things that we're concerned about, I start journaling
Perfect.
with dates and times and things like that. Same kind of idea. Haven't had to do that in a while. Time to do it again.
Well, so instead of journaling, there's these nice sheets that you can use. So I just brought two different examples. This one, if you know what all this is, it's nice to use. Put the date and the time and who saw it and then what happened. This could be hard with all the kids that you have. This one could be easier, where it's just a matter of, you know, you fill it in, what was happening, what did they do to themselves, where was it, you know, did they have it circle time, outside time, they hit another kid, who got involved, why did they do it, you know, their motivation, were they trying to get something, get attention, avoid cleaning up, and then, you know, was there a consequence?
Yeah.
or
And her
strategy?
behaviors are avoidance and to gain things. It's both.
Fun. So, yeah, it's hard.
It's all right. I mean, it could be harder.
It could be a lot worse.
Mhm.
It really could be. So, speaking of being a lot worse, let's go here. If we had to collect data, so keeping, you know, these in mind, for a children with special needs and or challenging behavior, how can you adapt it? Adapt data collection.
For this to a child with some special needs,
Mm-hmm.
well, I would use it the same way, probably. I would just, I've used this one before in the
Mhm.
past.
So how could you adapt this? We'll just go with this one. How could you adapt that one with a child with special needs?
I feel like it would just work for the same way, wouldn't it? For a child with special needs?
It could. What if a kid, let's just look at,
Are you trying
If-
to give a specific example?
yeah, like if there was a kid, we're just gonna go really severe, in a wheelchair, and he's runs over a kid with his wheelchair to get attention. That's not really a kind of choice. So what could you do?
You mean under the problem with behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's still, I mean, if
It's-
he's running over a child on purpose, it's still aggressive behavior.
Right. But could you write in there
Unsafe behaviors.
notes? More notes.
Oh, yeah.
Like more specific.
Yeah, that's
Kind
where
of
you're
things.
trying to lead me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't following you. I'm a little.
It's hard. It's
A little
early.
slow this morning. Yeah, I could put down runs, you know, the specifics.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is what I'm saying. Kinda
Okay,
gets
yeah.
you.
Mhm.
We could also change like what time of day. You know, does that kid have really rough mornings every day, and
Mhm.
you know that? So instead of tracking all of his rough times in the morning, we want to track them in the afternoon.
Mhm.
Those are some
Okay.
changes you could have.
Yeah, put it right here next to, right in the top there.
Mm-hmm. The description of it.
Mhm.
You can also add it down here or on the back.
Yep.
So just adapting to kids even with severe challenging behaviors or special needs, you could just add more notes
Mhm.
so that you really understand. Just like you were saying, referencing back to your journaling kind of, but having some quick check boxes instead of having to write out
Mhm.
circle time. It's just check, check, check.
Gotcha.
That's what I was getting
Okay.
at.
Sorry. I
it's
wasn't-
hard.
Wasn't picking up what you were putting down.
So
That's my bad. I'm slow this morning.
it happens. So this is our coaching on topic. Get to that. So, does this all make sense to you
Mhm.
about this topic and collecting data?
Yeah, you said we're just collecting data to begin.
That's the circuit.
Mhm.
So, there are like 10 of these. So this is that skill set rubric. So if you look at it, it really is broken down to like you get a thing on how you're going to collect data on a clipboard. Check. You put notes on it after every hour, whether it's positive or negative, you can write something down. The next one is you give a final score at the end of the day. So I made these fun little sheets, and this is just an example, like we can fill this out so it's consistent for all of them. And then you can write some positive things and some negative things on the day, because we want to get these positive things from her. And then you just put in her daily score. So say she had 2 tantrums in the day, her score would be a 3 for the day. So I tried to make this form really easy of, it's going to take you 2 seconds. This was a score, you can even circle it, some positive things, some negative things, and that's your daily reflection.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice. That's number 3 on this. So it'll be easy this time.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. And then, so that was the top, number 3. This is the 4th, looking at any themes and writing them down if you find any themes in the negative and themes in the positive. And that is the skill set this time.
Okay.
So it's very doable. And if there's anything else we need to add, like if we want to add collecting the data from the parents, we put that in the professional development plan. So this is our skill set rubric, our 5 steps we're working on. I think it's going to be good.
Okay.
And I think for both of our sakes, it's a lot less of, okay, here's one task that we have to do, and another task we have to do, and another task we have to do.
Okay.
Where this is one task on data collection, and this is how we're going to collect it. So thinking back to our last circuit, you know, if we were going to do the teacher board, and that was our thing, it would have been like, okay, step 1, we're going to do this. Step 2, we're going to do this.
It was too
instead
much.
of teacher board.
Right. So I didn't get it done.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it didn't get redone.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's part of the learning process.
Sure.
And we can always go back to it of, this is how we're going to do it. And by this date, we're going to have a draft of the schedule. The next date, we're going to have pictures of the schedule, whoever. So it's really
Okay.
much easier, I think. So, going on to the next steps in this circuit, we have modeling next. So, we'll watch a video, or we can get other people to help act it out. That's up to you, which one you prefer. I do have some videos ready to watch. And then we have behavior rehearsal. That is also going to be watching videos, because it's too hard to act this out and know what's going on. And that is just so that you can do these 5 steps. And it's really easy. If you watch the video, you know, you have your notes ready, and after the video, you reflect.
Okay.
And then live coaching, we'll go into the room, and we'll get the data. And then peer-to-peer, teaching someone else how to collect data and steps on data.
Okay.
And that's the circuit.
It's easy.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Do you have any questions on this? Okay.